Wednesday night, and that means it's time for the Lamar Thomas Show, featuring the greatest receiver in the history of college football. Just ask them, Lamar Thomas.
I was born in Ocala, Florida. I moved to Gainesville to go to high school. Been recruited probably since the 9th grade, illegally, I might add, by the University of Florida. I still can remember Coach Solinger, Don Solinger, coming out to our practice one day. Here it is, this guy comes out in the University of Miami jacket, and I said, I can't believe that's Miami out here. And, you know, I wanted to go up and say, hey, I'm Lamar Thomas. And actually, I did walk up to him and I said, hey, Coach, I'm Lamar Thomas. And he said, I know. And that was the start of my relationships with the University of Miami.
Another good block, and Toretto lays it out. Touchdown, Miami.
You come down here, you'll be on TV every weekend, dominating. I thought about it. I said, man, where do I sign? Mom, on Saturday mornings, I would wake up and she'd be holding my hand. I thought she was the weirdest lady in the world. But she was holding my hands and she would be rubbing them and saying, one day these hands are gonna make you a lot of money. She was smart.
So now, here he is, the great one, along with co-host Gary Furman of Canesport.com, Lamar Thomas.
LT, how are you, man? It's Wednesday night.
Woo!
Time for the Lamar Thomas Show. And look, we are both at Caneswear this week. How about that?
How about that?
Virtually.
Virtually. There you go.
I'm Gary Furman, the publisher at Canesport.com. He's, of course, Lamar Thomas, and we welcome everybody to the Lamar Thomas Show. And so we might as well tell the story.
Oh no, man!
So,
please.
You know, Caneswear had to close early tonight, and so they said, hey, you know, Lamar, can you do the show, you know, virtually? And you know, they sent us the background of the store, which, you know, clearly works great. But there's just one problem. So Lamar comes on to do the show, and I see there's nothing there. I'm
Gary,
like,
Gary,
Lamar, you're black.
It had to be an hour. It had to be.
I said, Lamar, you're black. Lamar says, thanks for the information.
That is true. That is.
I
true.
never would have known.
I didn't know that, Gary. Thanks, but thanks for informing me.
So I said, Lamar, what happened to your camera? And he's like messing with it for like 45 minutes. And
it was
finally,
longer than that, Gary. It was longer than that.
It was longer. I'm done.
It was longer than that. And I was in panic mode. I didn't know. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to do this show. It was only showing my background. So just so happened, Patrick Austin, who is our DFO of the Orlando XFL team, called, and he knows everything about computers. And he was like, I said, bro, I got a show to do. I got about 25 minutes to go. Can you please help me? He said, what's wrong? I said, my screen is black. He said, I got a tech guy on the phone. He calls the tech guy. We FaceTime. The tech guy starts laughing when he sees my screen. He starts laughing. And guess what he says, Gary? I haven't told you yet.
I know.
He said, slide the thing over on the top of your camera. It acts as a cover that slides over my camera. That's why I didn't want to tell you. So for an hour and 32 minutes, I didn't know there was a slide over my camera, and I was freaking out. So
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think.
I had no idea. And the guy started laughing. He goes, hey, you see that little red thing up there, that little red dot? Slide it over. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, So we're not actually physically in Canesware. We are in Canesware virtually tonight, but this is the Lamar Thomas Show presented by Canesware, and Canesware is your place for all of your game day needs for the Miami Hurricanes. You can visit their store on University Drive in Davie, or you can go to canesware.com and shop all day and night. And the show is also sponsored by the law office of Christine Rosendahl, Esquire, PA. You can reach her up in Palm Beach at 561-512-6199 or at Christine Rosendahl, ESQPA at hotmail.com. And while we're taking care of business here as we start the show, LT, who is feeding you tonight?
Oh, I got some pizza. Hold on, Gary. I got to make sure it's right so we can see this. We've already gone through this like 3-4 times. Let's see how I do this, Gary. Let's see. I go to settings, take off the virtual background, and voila. Pizza heaven.
Oh, man.
Go. Where the taste is a step above. Man, this pizza is
Wait,
so
move the box
good.
a little bit over so they can see the phone number, because let me tell you guys something. This pizza, the other way. You got it. It's in reverse. Yeah, there you go. 954-349-4566. Pizza Heaven in Weston. For those of you that live out in West Broward County, has the most unbelievable pizza in town. They really do. And
most likely you'll see me in there. I sit in there and I shake hands and kiss babies and everything else. And I go up there and I actually get some pizza. But my favorite from Pizza Heaven, let me tell you what my favorite is. See this right here, Gary? Gary, baked ziti, baby.
Ooh.
Woo!
Oh, man.
A week worth of eating right here. Let me tell you something. I take it. That's like a pie for me.
I got one of my kids. It wouldn't take him a week to eat that. I'll tell you that.
Oh, man. So you got to go up to Pizza Heaven and see my boy Benny and tell him I sent you. Say, man, LT was talking about you on the show, man. He's a good dude, and they take good care of me. And my picture's on the wall with the boss of my league, Dwayne Johnson, Dewey. He's up there. Sapp's up there. There's a lot of guys up there on that wall. So go by and check them out. They do a great job over there.
All right, LT. So let's get into some football. This season is insane. Let's be honest. It is out of this mind. So the Hurricanes go to Blacksburg, and they're on a 3-game losing streak, and they got to find some way to win. And they play great in the first half. They jump out, to the huge lead, and then the second half, they kind of like reverted backwards a little bit. Penalties, like there's no tomorrow. Lost their discipline. I mean, everything went haywire, and they were very close to putting Virginia Tech in a spot to have a final chance to win that game. What were your thoughts watching Miami, Virginia Tech?
I like how you say revert because, it's almost like, okay, whatever that coaching staff did to them, whatever they said to them during that week, they came out fired up and ready to go. And then went in at halftime and forgot all about what was taught to them because it just went backwards. It was the same old team we saw in those losses. They gave Virginia Tech an opportunity to win the ball game. And the game was pretty much over at first half. I mean, first of all, I couldn't even watch it. I had to go find it because I'm in South Florida and somehow the ACC network doesn't come to Weston. I mean, what is that? So I had to go to a local sports bar and watch the game, and I was doing great until it almost went haywire, and I had a couple of adult beverages, but we're not going to talk about that. But I mean, the fact is, everything that they did in the first half, they looked like they were on the road or something. They looked like they were on a roll, and it looked like they were on something special. And it looked like that whole week they were taught something. Second half went backwards, and you can't do that against good. You can't even do it against okay competitors. And Virginia Tech, they got lucky they were playing Virginia Tech, put it that way.
So we're seeing like goofy stuff. Offensive line couldn't get the snap calls right. And they had 7 penalties on the offensive line, several on the defense. I mean, one of the my screen went haywire there for a minute. One of them was to Corey Couch. just a ridiculous late hit out of bounds, and it was just like they just lost their minds, Lamar. And it was crazy because this was a game they had to win, and they had it won easily, and they made it close unnecessarily, and ended up not covering the spread, which is a big deal for Canes fans who now have gone 5 straight games without their team covering the spread. So Miami's
you better stop betting your lunch money and your rent money and your mortgage money.
I don't bet, but I do a show called You Bet with Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports, and he brought this to my attention that Miami is 0-5 this year against the spread. Yeah,
don't bet with Miami against spread, and it's hard to do. I mean, I a couple years ago I tried to get into it, and it's very hard because you know you're not happy with the win, and you're definitely sad about your losses. So don't do it.
Well, you know what the problem is, LT? They think Lamar Thomas and Clinton Portis and Reggie Wayne and Michael Irvin are still out there playing, and they overvalue Miami when they set the lines. That's the truth. That's a true story.
I tell you what, they didn't know number 88 was going to be playing this week. I tell you again, it goes back to what you and I talked about maybe last week or maybe on the phone. It was funny. I sent one of the coaches a message about, hey, you guys better get number 88 in the game. And he was like, well, he doesn't know the plays. Well, I know I've been in those meetings before. He said he might not know the plays. I've been in those meetings before where the head coach says, hey, somebody better teach that fucker. Somebody better teach him the plays right now because he's the guy we need in there. And it looked like, I think he started and, he did very well.
Yeah, played a lot.
Played very well. Yes.
And almost every route he's running right now are go routes, Lamar.
Yes.
For that very reason of what you just mentioned. And they obviously realize that this is not going to be able to continue, that they have to do more. If he's going to be on the field, he's going to have to do more than run go routes. So I believe they have been trying to expand.
I hope so.
Yeah. Beyond that this week in practice. And, we'll see the byproduct of that against Duke. The other thing they're working on in practice, Lamar, is the running game. It was pretty much missing in action again, to the point where when they did get into the fourth quarter and needed to kill the clock, they didn't have the run game at their disposal. Josh Gaddis, rather than put the game in his mind at risk, went with what was working for them, and that was the passing game, and got out of Dodge. But the Canes fan that wants style points was very rattled by that.
There's no style points. I mean, obviously a win is a win, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're able to run the ball effectively at the end of the game. If you can't do that, you're putting yourself in harm's way. And again, you give an opportunity to a team that should be packing it up, an opportunity to maybe win the game.
So if Lamar Thomas is the OC and calling the game and you're down there, there's 6 minutes left, and you just can't run the ball. Your O-line is just not working. Your running backs, their timing, their rhythm, everything is gone haywire. And you're facing a situation where if you don't run the clock and move the ball, you're giving them the ball back with like 4 minutes left to with a chance to win. So you say, I don't care, I'm running the ball? Is that what you're saying?
No. I mean, at some point, you have to face reality. If it's not working, you have to do what you can do. I mean, if you're running the ball and you're getting minus yards or maybe 1 or 2 yards, then, I mean, you are using a little clock, but it's not enough. And you have to run the ball.
You just better make sure you complete the passes.
Correct.
Yeah.
They have to be safe passes, something where your quarterback feels comfortable, maybe rollouts, where, if it's not there, you can throw it out of bounds.
Or run it.
or run it, or throw it in through the end zone. But it has to be something safe. You don't want a lot of passes across the middle. You want passes toward the sideline. So maybe, that's obviously stopping the clock, but at least you're getting some yards. And now you can try to run it get that 1 yard and then go back to it. I mean, the fact that they had to do that, it was because they weren't getting the running yards. they had to throw the ball. You have no choice. If you're not getting any running yards, and if it's becoming a struggle for you to run the ball, you got to get some yards.
You just got to do what works and get the heck out of there. And you know, but it's funny that we were talking about this a lot on the message boards at canesport.com. And I mean, I was getting castrated on this subject because I said that I thought Josh Gaddis did the right thing. And it's certainly not what you would want to do every week. But they had to get out of there. And you know, TVD's been playing great for the last couple of weeks. They trusted him, and it worked out.
Well, I mean, you know, the two games, I mean, the last game and this one. So, I mean, I wouldn't say he's been playing great, but this win and the last win, he's played pretty good. But I wouldn't say great. But he almost had 500 yards the game before. So, but those games before that, that's why I can't consider it great. So he has to continue to improve and continue to be a leader, and those other guys will follow. You know, this whole team, it's a whole team game, and there's no real big stars on this team. So it has to be a team game, you know, where guys are chipping in. You want guys to be able to Brashard Smith and, you know, those guys to be able to make plays, some plays in special teams. There are a lot of facets to it where it's not one guy that's going to get the job done. We now know that. You know, you would have thought it might have been a Rooster, or you thought it might have been a Mallory, but those it's more of a team thing. You know, it's that's the way it is.
I know one guy that was probably throwing shoes at his wall and, you know, kicking his dog and all that when he saw that Josh Gaddis wasn't running the ball. And that, of course, is the voice of the fan, Bruce Warner, who is tasked on this show with representing the Canes fan. And Bruce, a lot of Canes fans were pretty rattled by those choices of plays, even though they worked.
Yeah, well, they worked, but there was one sequence where it was 48 seconds and for 3 downs. That's not good. I mean, even if you gain nothing, you got to burn off a minute and a half or so off that clock. So that was bad. That was real bad. And you can't do that. But, you know, we also talked to Leon last night. There's no push from that line. There were 3 guys out, weren't there, Gary? 3 guys. So where are they going to get it from? They don't have the offensive linemen to do that. I think I saw Cooper in there a little bit, like the young kid, Inez Cooper was in there for a while, but you still have to run the ball. And I don't, Lamar, why don't they have any sort of toss sweeps or any of that stuff? Everything is between the tackles. They stop it. So that's why you can't run the ball. There's got to be some imagination.
Hey, it kind of looks like Michigan student body left and student body right.
They may not feel the line to get outside and block.
They can't block.
Obviously, there's something that Gaddis doesn't feel comfortable doing. You know, it's you know, but you should be able to game plan certain things, and if you know they're stacked in the middle, then why not run the ball outside with outside zones or sweeps, just like you said, or tosses or something else like that. Obviously, he just doesn't feel comfortable doing it. I would thought that last year we might have seen Rooster running some tosses last year, and he was pretty explosive on it, but. This is a whole different year.
Well,
let me ask you a
question.
question.
Brought up Trevante Citizen last night, and that still, to me, is a big loss because that kid could do everything. He was like Cleveland Gary. He's like all those Williams. He's like those guys that could just do it all.
Yeah, and he would have helped for sure.
Get in the open field and still get tripped up by his shoelace.
But let me ask you this, Coach Lamar Thomas, the assistant head coach of the Orlando franchise of the XFL, whatever X stands for, but it's the X Football League.
Hey, we have a name coming too. It should be revealed in the next week or so.
Oh, there's going to be a real name, and we're going to find out what the X stands for? Yes. Oh, man.
No, we're
the
Orlando Ostriches. All
right, so let me ask you this, Coach Thomas.
Okay.
They've had a million problems, right? I mean, injuries, drop balls, O-line play. You can name it. They've had a lot of problems this year. Okay, you're always fixing something every single week. Now, when coaches have to deal with that, and you're constantly fixing everything, do the little things like clock management, like maybe running the ball outside instead of inside. Do little things like that fall through the cracks because you're so focused on fixing things all the time?
They can. it just all depends on the coaching staff. I mean, it's I was with a guy before that was very thorough on stuff, and he went through every kind of scenario, and we were very prepared for it. I was with another guy who kind of, when things didn't go well that week before, he concentrated on those things that did go bad, and we spent a lot of time on those things. And sometimes, like you just said, things kind of fall through the crack. So, I mean, it just depends on the coaching staff and who the head coach is on how they try to handle it. And as we well know, Miami has a lot of leaks in that water hose. So, I don't know if you have enough time in the day to patch every leak. So they got to concentrate on something. And hopefully, you can still get some water out of that spigot.
Well, that's what I was
I'll tell
getting
you
at.
what, I like Ja'Cory Brown going in there.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
And I'll tell you what's going to happen, Lamar. I know you're going to yell at me. Somewhere in the not too distant future, when we play these guys, he's going to take that snap, take one step forward, stop, and hit somebody down the field, because they're not putting him in there just to run. Somewhere along the line, that's the setup play.
Hey, the only way I would have been mad at you if you'd have said he jumped, and that brings me back to that guy number 15 up in Florida. So don't bring that up.
I didn't say he jumped. He ain't jumping, but he hit somebody down the field. You see,
I liked it.
Back that box.
Did you like it?
I liked it. It was a change of pace. I thought it was great. I thought that they did it at the right time, and it gives every team now something to. They got to spend some time on that when they see him come in the game. They have to spend some time in the scenarios of what he could do, what Josh might be thinking he might do. So you got to spend time on that. It's not that, and that's a great change of pace for the University of Miami.
Well, then let me get your opinion on this, Coach Thomas.
Okay.
He's played in 2 games now.
He's no more LT.
Oh, I'm giving it to him tonight. All right, no, these are all coaching questions. All right, so now you've done it for 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
2 questions. Teams start preparing for it. Number 1. Number 2, you could do it for 2 more before he loses his red shirt. He could play in up to 4 games. Is it such a important wrinkle? Does it create enough problems that you would do that every game for the next 7 games and blow his redshirt year to do it? Go ahead, Coach.
Well, it might depend on if I felt like my job was on the line,
which it's not.
Which is not. So again, we talked about this early in the year. The only way Miami is going to be successful is they're going to have to build depth, and depth comes with guys coming up through the system, maturing, getting bigger, stronger, faster. And we're not going to a national championship this year. Okay, let's in case some of you fans out there might think we still have a chance, we don't. So hey, let the guy play it one more game or maybe half something. And, but let the kid be able to come back. Now you'll see some greatness. We didn't get opportunities to play those 4 games and still keep our redshirt year. And we all would have loved to have done that, but the rules were different. This is something great because you still have your years left, your 4 years left to play, and you got the opportunity to play big time college football. And because you think about it, for me personally, first game, Wisconsin, I got to play at ABC. I was scared shitless. I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, this is on ABC. This first game, Dennis Harrison's coaching. Oh my goodness. But if I would have got a chance to play against Cal Berkeley the year before, or San Jose State or somebody, and got an opportunity to play a couple plays, maybe the whole game or the second half or something, I go into Wisconsin saying, yeah, buddy, I'm ready. I was more focused on do not trip and fall as you run out and give the play. Don't trip and fall.
So, but I think he's going to play the next 2, Gary. And if they happen to blow one of these 2 games, then just take them off, let them just redshirt. But if they win these 2 and he's doing well, maybe they should, because they got Florida State, they got Clemson, they got Pitt. They got to win these games.
Yeah, I don't think they'll blow his red shirt. We'll see. Lamar, let me ask you this: how much practice time do you think a defense has to spend to prepare for that wrinkle?
Ooh, there's you got to spend a good little. I mean, they're different scenarios too, because you're saying, okay, these are the plays he ran well. We also have to prepare for the plays that he could run
that they haven't run yet.
That they haven't run yet. So these are things you're spending at least, I would say, 2 periods, maybe 1 or 2 periods in that week to prepare
so maybe
for this
20,
kid.
30 minutes.
Yeah, so you could be spending, I say 10 minutes a day, but it's 2 periods, 5 periods. You're spending that, and you're saying, okay, now these are the plays he ran. This is how we stop him. This is what he could do. Let's make up some plays that he could do that we've seen guys do out of this. Hopefully, Gaddis doesn't run this, but if he does, our guys will at least be prepared for it. So you're spending time.
So, but here's the difference. Most of these Wildcat guys are running backs. He's a quarterback. He's a legitimate quarterback, a big kid too.
Yeah,
so you have to prepare for passes too.
So that's what I'm saying.
That's why I think he should be playing. If he gets comfortable in this, I'd let him keep going.
The great thing is, obviously, they've seen him run the ball. They haven't seen him really get out and throw it off of that formation. So that's what they got to prepare for. And they got to make sure the ends keep contained.
Yep. I'd save that pass for Florida State. We might need it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's assume, because it does make sense, that they are going to redshirt Ja'Cory Brown. Okay? And we are going to see this 2 more times this year. How much value, Lamar, is there in having that wrinkle in your back pocket, the opponent having no idea whether you're going to use it? They got to spend that 20 minutes of practice time preparing for it, and they don't know whether you're going to use it or not. How much value is there in that?
Oh, it's some value. I mean, that's why you do things like that, to give people, you run plays sometimes saying we're setting this up for 2-3 games down the line. You run a guy on jet sweep motion and you never give it to him, but you're letting them know that it could happen. So they have to not only prepare for the play that you're actually running, but they have to prepare for the jet sweep. Now you create another wrinkle off of that, right? Saying, okay, at some point they're gonna run the jet sweep, and then you come back with that different wrinkle, and that's how you get. It's all a setup. Everything is a setup. So Gaddis putting this young man in, running that the way they ran it. Now you got to prepare for everything, and of course, there's something down the line that they already have put in, and hopefully, maybe we will pull it out against Florida State.
In one of your greatest moments as a college football coach, you recruited a young man to the University of Louisville by the name of Lamar Jackson. And I got to believe that you guys did this all the time at Louisville with Lamar Jackson. I mean, you could do anything with him, and you could expand, his playbook weekly if you wanted to, because of everything that he could do. Did Bobby Petrino go in that direction and put things in just to make people work on them, whether he was going to use them or not?
Yeah, he did. I mean, of course, at first, he was still on the belief that the kid could run his offense. And I think he smartened up after Houston threw every blitz in the universe at us. And the kid was so confused, and he thought about it for a couple of weeks, and he said, hey, Coach K, who's on our staff, Coach Kanakas, who actually coached a kid at Nevada in the pistol formation. And we went to that later on in the year to Colin Kaepernick. We went to that because he said, okay, we're going to give them something to think about from now on. And so he started running that and said, okay, that's pretty much unstoppable, but let's throw my offense in too. They got a plan for his offense too. So it was like a damn if you do, damn if you don't. You had 2 offense you had to plan for, and I guarantee it drove defensive coordinators crazy, because not only are you preparing for Bobby Petrino's whatever you run, defense you run, he's going to call his beaters, but you're also preparing for this pistol formation where this guy is having to read options and read this and read that. So you're thinking, wow, it's not enough time in the day. I guarantee you some of those defensive coordinators broke rules as far as time trying to prepare for Lamar.
It's funny that you talk about Bobby Petrino adjusting his offense for Lamar Jackson. I asked Josh Gaddis this week, how much have you changed the last couple weeks? I mean, we're obviously seeing this reborn TVD. He looks like, Tyler Van Dyne's of last year all of a sudden. And there's a great assumption out here in the Canes Nation that Josh Gaddis has changed all kinds of stuff. And I don't know if he's telling me the truth or not. He said, I haven't changed anything. We're running the same stuff. We're just executing it much better.
Okay.
Are you seeing a different offense, Lamar? Coach Thomas?
Well, I can tell you this. It kind of goes back to that conversation that they had where the quarterback said, we're spending more time together. So basically, they're going over plays that, and hopefully, I'm not in the meeting room, so I can't say this for sure. But Josh is saying, okay, these are the plays we're going to run, right? And quarterback saying, yeah, I like this one. I don't like this one, coach. I don't feel comfortable running it. Okay, let's snatch it out. Okay. What about this one right here? Oh, I like that one. What about this one? I don't feel comfortable. I can't do that turn. Okay, let's take it out. So they're coming to some type of compromise. He don't want to admit it, but they have to do that because you don't want to call plays not to the kid's strength. You're actually killing yourself just because you like to play. The quarterback is the one that's on the field. He has to like it. Your receivers, your O-line, your tight ends, all those guys have to like it. They have to see some type of execution on that play during the week for you to feel comfortable calling it and for those kids to feel comfortable on the field when it's called.
And you got Young stepping up big time in the last two games. Gee, I wonder why. And then you got Latson who stepped up.
No, how about that?
Both the guys have helped him, and Mallory before he got hurt looked better. So there's a reason why he's passing is better because he's got guys catching the ball now. I don't even think Young's dropped the ball. He's made some really tough catches.
Hey, let's not jinx him. That's the thing that I said about him making plays down the field, contested catches.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing because we haven't seen that this year. So, I'm excited about the changes that they've made, but they have to continue to get better. Don't rest on those laurels. I hope that Josh isn't sitting back smoking a stogie saying, yeah, we've made it, because you haven't. Virginia Tech was not a good team.
I don't think so. Hey, Gary, do you know who's coming back this week? Just as a quick aside, who's coming back to play?
They haven't said, but there's a lot of them that are coming back.
Okay.
Several of those injured guys will be back.
Right, what about Mallory? What was his concussion?
I think he'll be out there.
Okay, good.
I think he's okay. Yeah, there's a lot of guys coming back. I think Ja'Kai Clark will be back at center. I think you'll see, I believe, Redding again, and
Parrish.
I think you might see Parrish again. Yes, most of those guys have been pointing towards coming back this weekend. Hey, a guy just popped into the green room, and he had a son that played for the University of Miami, who used to say, man, I wish I used to play in the day when Lamar Thomas was out here, because I would have loved to just tackle that guy. But he never got that opportunity. And that, of course, is Mr. Randy Bethel. Welcome to the Lamar Thomas Show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. How y'all doing, man? Good
Hey, Randy. Long time, man. How you doing?
I'm blessed, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really good. Still hanging around with Mark Caesar, but I'm still doing good.
Bear, how you doing, Bear? Mr. Bear.
Well, hey, how's everything?
Hanging? It's good. Hey. Uh-oh, we're losing him a little bit.
He's locking up a little bit, yeah.
Come on, kick him back in. See what
Randy,
happens.
Get out of it and come back in, and then we'll bring you back on.
All right. Another good guy.
Yeah. But anyway, so let me just get him out of.
He was frozen.
Oh wait, I think he's unfrozen. He looks like he's moving to me. We'll try one more time. All right, he's working on it. But anyway, so another thing I want to talk to you about, Lamar, is that you talked about having to drive all over town to try to find a place to watch the game. And that's a dilemma that I've heard from a lot of fans. And, this Miami just got its game time for Virginia, which is the game after Duke, and it's a similar 12:30 on regional sports networks. That's going to be 3 straight weeks. The Miami Hurricanes are out of the main loop of the ACC broadcast schedule. Is that a little bit of a too severe of a penalty for losing to Texas A&M, Middle Tennessee, and North Carolina?
Ooh, that one in the middle, that's like an Oreo cookie. That Middle Tennessee boy, that might have been the one that took him over the edge, dog. I mean that it's just amazing that we can't get the games down here. The 12:30 game. I mean, it's just amazing. But hey, you're not playing well. And just think if they would have lost to freaking Virginia Tech, we would have been playing on PBS for sure. So I mean, it's just it's all part of it. Everything is about money. You know that, Gary. It's about money, and it's about you got to win games. You got to win games. That's what it boils down. You can't be beat by teams that you're paying $500,000 to. You got to win those games, man. And so, we can cry over the Texas A&M game. We can cry over the North Carolina game, but hell, we that Middle Tennessee won't be forgotten this whole year. You got to win some games to get that sour taste out of our mouths as fans. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. I mean, I get, regardless, I'm always wear my UM stuff, but everywhere I go, it's like, oh, good game, but man, we lost to Middle Tennessee. I'm like, bro, why'd you bring that up? I was having a good day until you brought that up. So
Randy's getting his picture back, but first let's take a moment and let's hear from our friends at Caneswear.
Welcome to Caneswear. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has all latest merchandise for the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Inter Miami Soccer, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of I-595, or online at Caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right, let's see if we can keep them back in here. All right, Randy, you're back with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm back.
There you go. There you go. How you doing, Mr. Bear?
Hey, LT, I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm especially doing great because for the first time, you did not call me by the freshman name that you guys gave me. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And what was that name?
I don't want to talk about it, sir. I don't really want to talk about it. You guys, I could not wait for you guys to leave so I could give myself my own nickname. And that's what I did. Because I could not wait for y'all to leave because y'all tortured me as a freshman. I knew you guys liked me, but I questioned it some days because
hey, we loved you. That's why we had to give it to you.
What was his nickname? Mr. Weight Room?
No, that definitely was not it.
Well,
Lou Ferrigno?
It was along those lines. They got me pretty good on that one. I mean, when you give a nickname, it sticks, and it stuck until they left. When they left,
come on, Lamar, spill it, man. You humiliated yourself with the story about your webcam at the beginning of the show. You can at least tell us the nickname.
He told us once before, but we forgot.
I think Bear froze up again, so I would let Bear tell it. But Bear, you froze up again.
Yeah, he froze again.
I go back outside. That's where he was doing good outside. Yeah, so those guys, man, they gave me the nickname Fats.
What is it?
Fats.
Fat?
Fats. F-A-T-S. S. Fats. See, and look how he's laughing. And it was
no fat.
And here's the thing. So
Twiggy would have been better.
I coached with Bernard Clark up at Hampton University, and the guy called me Fats, and I said, "Bro, I'm not 18 years old, bro. Okay, stop calling me that." I go to Roland Smith when he's coaching at Central, and they say, "Hey, Coach Thomas is here to see you." Oh, Fats, yeah, tell him to come on back, bro. You gotta let that go, man. We don't go by it's Coach Thomas, man. It's Coach Thomas.
Hey, man, you always be fast to us, man.
See,
That's the love.
See?
C4L, baby.
See?
C4L.
You know what, man? And it was
always be there.
You're a guy.
Of course.
Bear. You're a guy
that.
You're a guy that came to the University of Miami and you changed positions. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was an interesting story, man. I came as a linebacker. We had some injuries at DN. Butch Davis told me, "Hey, come on down, man. Let's do this." And I don't know why this light keep going off. Anyway, so I went to DN for that spring, right at the end of my freshman year, and had a great spring. Willis McGee and myself were battling out, and we were right there. So Butch was like, "Hey, you come back to camp about 2:45, I think we'll be good to go." And so I packed my pounds on, did what I had to do, got back to camp. This is true story. Got back to camp, and we're getting ready to do the 110 test. And someone says, "Hey, man, Coach Johnson wants to see you." I said, "Shit, what did I do? What's going on here?" And we're getting ready to run the 110 test. 110 test is serious. Lamar, you know how serious that test is.
Oh, yeah.
And so he says, "I'm going to talk to you in a little bit." He says, "Donnie, take him outside." So Don Solinger takes me outside in the rain and starts throwing footballs at me. And I played tight end in high school as well. So I'm catching it, tucking it away naturally, not saying a word. And I look upstairs and I see Jimmy looking downstairs at us from his office. And Don gives him the thumbs up. And I'm like, "Man, what did that mean? What's going on, Coach?" He says, "Well, Coach Johnson thinks that you're going to really be a big help for us at tight end." I said, "What?" I said, "Dude, I just put on all this weight. I've been training for this 110 test." That was what I was most worried about, was the 110 test. Because the DNs ran at 19. Tight ends had to go at 17. And I'm like, man, 2-second difference. I put on 20 pounds already. This could be an issue. But, I saw what happened to some of my other teammates who did not pass the 110 test.
Ooh.
So I'm like, hey, you know what, God? Hey, God is you and me. Help me through this. And I think I finished all 17 of them in probably 15, 16 seconds.
Did you hear what he said? It was supposed to be 16, but he finished 17 of them.
It's 17. I'm going to run an extra.
Yes.
That's true story. True story. I mean, with no warning, no nothing. Come on, you're going to play tight end now.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, it wasn't a
It worked, man. You had a great cotton ball.
Yeah,
and how did you feel about, because you were there at the same time I was when Dennis came in? What was your thought process on Coach Harrison coming in? Because I know a lot of us, like myself, we were kind of befuddled by the whole thing. Like, whoa, who is this guy, and he's coming from where, and huh?
Yeah, it was definitely an adjustment phase for all of us, really. I remember we were outside with Coach Roll running 110s again, and this guy just kind of wanders out on the field. And we're like, who is that down there with this ugly plaid jacket?
Oh, it was ugly.
Oh, it was awful. And he just kind of walked, making his way out on the field. And we just ran right by him. A couple of us brushed up on him, like, "Man, who are you?" And we get back down on the other end. And I remember Coach Rose saying, "Hey, man, that's our new coach." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, hey, whatever. It is what it is." But, I was it didn't bother me very much, man. I think, Jimmy had trained us so well to just get the job done. It didn't matter who was calling the plays, what was happening. This was the University of Miami, and we're gonna whoop you. Period.
Hey, Bab, do you remember as you were talking, I went back in my memory bank. I used to come in y'all room a lot.
Yeah, you
down
did.
that and
Looking for
36G.
food, probably.
I used to wash the dishes.
36G.
I washed the dishes.
Yeah.
I washed the dishes. They love to see me come. I was a freshman. I washed the dishes because I told them it made my hands soft. So they didn't mind me coming to their room.
Come on.
Most freshmen couldn't come in there, but they said, "Come on in, Fats."
Come on in. Come on in. You know, we know what you're coming to do. Come on. We always have some dishes for you.
Now, Randy. I mean, you played at the University of Miami, and
Right.
you were able to, obviously you had kids, and you had a son attend the University of Miami. What was that like? What was that feeling being recruited by the University of Miami? And talk about the recruiting part. We don't want to talk about him playing, not yet. Let's talk about the recruiting part of and what you felt.
Yeah, man, it was surreal. It was like, hey, I've been coaching this kid for years.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got into high school, I pulled away from it completely and let him be coached by other people. I would still do things, around the yard or whatever, or just he and I, somewhat one-on-one. But, after probably his ninth grade year, he started getting attention. And at that time, Randy Shannon was at Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously everybody knew how close Randy and I were and still are. And after his sophomore year, after his freshman year, we moved to Vero Beach. He had a great sophomore season, and Randy, I think, was his first or second D1 offer. His first SEC for sure, but his first major D1 offer. And after that, it just snowballed. And then Hurley Brown, who was coaching at Miami at the time, jumped on board, and they made the offer. And it's one of those things, because you deal with the mama at home who's
Mm-hmm.
saying, well, I don't care where my baby go. I just want him to get a good education, and that sounds good, man. That's great for a newspaper, but I nobody wanted to hear that. I didn't want to hear that. I'm like, just be quiet, leave him alone, and he'll make the right decision.
Right.
So it was a process, man. We visited Miami. Our first trip actually was to Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was a great trip. We had a great time. Then we went to Miami, and then his mom went along with him, just him, to the University of Tennessee. And they had a great time. It was actually on his birthday. So I'm like, oh, man, damn, I might have made a mistake right then, letting them go, on his birthday with the mama.
Right.
But he came back, and he was like, he's a real quiet kid. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm about ready to make my decision. And I left him alone. I didn't even say anything to him. I let him announce it however he wanted to. And, the rest was history for us.
Yeah.
And so Pat graduated in 20, was in the program during Mark Richt's time, predominantly. And, how did talk about your experience as a parent during that time? I mean, we could probably assume that like maybe it didn't go as great as you guys probably wanted it to in that period that he was there. Talk about what your viewpoint as a parent was during that period.
Well, when you say it didn't go great, it's hard for former players to deal with that and to make that make sense. Like my class that came in, that group of guys who some of us played 5 years, only lost 3 games in 5 years. So how do we relate greatness with kids who are playing right now, or kids who played 5 years ago? It's an unfair comparison, and it's hard for us as former players to sometimes get a good understanding of that, because great to us is putting a ring on your finger at the end of the year. And then going right back to work 2 weeks later and get ready to do it again. That's great. His experience was outstanding. It was out of this world. It helped him become even a stronger young man on and off the field. I'm super proud of him. Super proud of all my children, my daughter and my younger son. But it helped develop him as a young man. It was a great experience, and he actually moved positions as well from defensive end to defensive tackle. And again, it was one of those situations where the numbers were down at tackle. We needed help, and he went through a spring at maybe 250 pounds playing D tackle, and he was playing behind McIntosh at the time. And next thing I know, he's 285, 290, and playing nose and taking on double teams all game. And allowed I can't remember the other tackle's name at the time, number 9. I forget his name.
Norton.
Was not Norton.
Norton was 7.
Norton was 7. It was number 9. He transferred from Florida. What was his name?
Oh. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Gerald Willis.
Yeah,
Willis. That light. Did we lose Randy again?
No, I think he's still there. The light's just going on and off on him.
That light.
To imagine that.
There he is.
There we go.
Yeah. All right, and so I'm watching him, especially the LSU game we played out in Texas. And he made a few good plays, and he's taking on double teams and allowing this other guy to, to play the 3 and to make plays, and it worked well. So I was super proud of him, man. I'm like, hey, keep your weight up, do what you got to do, and just remember, when this football stuff is all over, you better lose that weight, buddy.
So has he?
He's done extremely well. He's he's doing well in his career. He's working out. He's down to probably maybe 260, 265, somewhere up in there. But he looks great. He's very, very healthy. He's doing a great job. So yeah, I can't complain.
That's awesome.
So let me ask you this: if you're a legacy player, and you have a son who's a good football player, do you have a responsibility to the U to send your kid to the U? We have a situation right now with Tolbert Bain's nephew, who's driving them crazy. He's being romanced by everybody. Alabama, Auburn. He's one of the top defensive ends in the country. Miami obviously wants him very badly. His brother is on the staff at Miami. Uncle Tolbert played at Miami. The Bain family has been entrenched in the University of Miami for a few decades now. Do they have a responsibility to send Ruben to the U? And how do you manage that as a parent?
As a parent or a family member, like Tolbert is right now, you manage it by allowing the kid to see it, to see greatness, and not beating him over the head with it, but still trying to impress upon him, hey man, you got to make your own way. It is what it is. I'm with you 100% wherever you go, which is true. But the kid knows. I didn't have to tell my son, oh man, hey, you got to go to Miami. I didn't have to say that. I just showed him. He was exposed to it at a young age. He was with me when we did some of the very first championship reunions that were, out at local restaurants and stuff. He was with me at games. He was with me at the Orange Bowl. He stood at, when Sebastian blew the smoke down on the sideline. So it was in his blood. It was naturally, it was going to come out of him, period. So I didn't have to worry about that. But, it is a sticky situation because now, and Coach can tell you, I mean, recruiting has changed so much now. It's changed so much. Everybody wants to, get up in front of the camera and put 4 or 5 hats up there and take one on and put one on and take it off. And, pull the Houdini action. Nobody got time for all that. It's time to play football, man. So, you get kids who are doing that, I don't know, if I don't know. It's the recruiting is just hard. So how do you compete with that? How do you compete with that? What I'm telling kids is, hey, University of Miami is the best place in the world. It's the best place in the world. And I have the same issue now because I coach high school kids.
Mhm.
So, and these kids, and believe it or not, I'm a D-line guy. D-line is my specialty. Not offense, not tight ends, defensive line. And I've been fortunate enough to put a lot of kids in college. Jafari Harvey is one of my kids. Pat Bethel was obviously my kid. So we've sent kids from my high school to the University of Miami. Dwayne Hoylett was one of our kids. He didn't stay, but he was still a real kid. I have a kid at Florida now. I have a kid at Alabama. So yeah, it was. I think I felt more pressure. My kid Keanu Kuhn, who signed with Alabama, I think I felt more pressure from some of the staff members with him.
Yeah, he was a hell of a player.
Yeah, hey man, hey, what's going on? I thought we had a chance. I'm like, look, man, I'm on this kid every day, but it's difficult, and that was more pressure for me than it was with my son or with Jafari.
Lamar, Selwyn Brown's another one. His son's at American Heritage now. Miami's recruiting him very hard to come as a DB.
I think he's coming.
Hey, Bell.
Yeah.
Hey, I need you to do me one favor. Ask me, say, hey, Bane. Say, hey, Bane, what you think about your nephew coming? Just ask that to me. Just ask.
Hey, Tolbert, what do you think about your nephew, man? Are we gonna get him? He coming to Miami or what?
Bell, I don't even know, man. I'm around this thing. Hell, shit, I just seen the man up there. I said, shit, show that man what he's supposed to get around him now. You know how we did it back there. Shit, I had Melvin down there last night. Playmaker came too.
That was great. That's great.
There's a lot of accuracy to that. Yeah. That is exactly what he would be saying.
That's scary.
And how he would say it, that sounded like him too.
Yeah, it really
That's how Tolbert talks. That's funny.
That's him. Yeah.
Hey, you do any other voices?
A couple. I got a couple. I had to watch them guys, man. Them guys, man, they wanted to do some things to me, so I had to say some things just in case, because they were trying to do some things to me. I had to run from them a couple times, hide from them. I hear it from them. I never told you, man. That ledge on the third floor.
On the ledge.
I was skinny enough to slide up on that ledge. Y'all looked out the window. Y'all never looked down and saw me. I was out there.
Yeah.
They were coming to cut my hair.
The life of Hurricanes in Building 36.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's some stories. We need to write a book, man.
Oh man. No doubt. No doubt.
In case you viewers don't understand, there was a building that we all lived in. It was our football dorm. It was Building 36, and it was a piece of shit. It was trash. It was a bad place. It was when I came on my visit.
Hey, but I will move back in tomorrow.
I sure would. Hey, I came on my visit. Everywhere else was nice and clean. They had, you go into Yon Hall, the beds made. You get to Building 36, people hanging out the window. It's liquor bottles everywhere. Coke 45.
Oh yeah.
It's pizza boxes. People yelling. Hey man, what's up, bro? Who you is?
Yeah. It was different. It was different at 36 now.
Place. It was a different place. I was kind of scared to bring my parents around that thing a little bit.
I didn't bring mine.
See?
No, I'll meet y'all at a restaurant. Let's go across the street. Let's go to Burger King somewhere. I'll meet y'all somewhere else, man. We can't come down here.
That was a devil. Boy, you didn't want to bring your parents. You didn't want to bring your girlfriend either, boy.
Do not bring your girlfriend. Don't bring her.
She was on limits. Ain't no off limits. She was on limits.
On limits. I'm telling you. Yeah.
Hey, Bell,
you got to be careful at 36 now.
Hey, Beth, tell us a little bit about what you got going on now. I mean, I know you've been in the school system for a long time. I know you were over at Sebastian River. You were at Vero for a while, and are you at Sebastian, or do I have it reversed?
You got it reversed. Yeah,
Okay.
I started out at Sebastian River.
Okay.
And I stayed at Sebastian River for 19 years.
Wow.
And I was 16 of the 19 were I was the head coach. And my son's sophomore year, we decided to move to Vero, and we moved to Vero Beach. I got fired as a head coach, so it was an easy move for me. And then I started coaching there, and I've been coaching ever since. I have a great head coach, Lenny Jankowski, who kind of lets me kind of run the program and do what I need to do. So we're getting things together, and so I'm about 27 years in the system now.
Wow.
We've been blessed enough, man. I own some other businesses as well. I own a commercial cleaning service. I've had this for 17 years. We got probably about 28 employees, and that's probably why I have more gray hair now in dealing with them. And then we also we own a cigar business. We sell luxury cigars. I have mobile cigar units, and that's kind of my passion, and I enjoy it. And we actually just finished with a cigar I call the Hurricane, and it's a Nicaraguan Puro. It has dual wrap. It has a Maduro, an Habano, and the band of the cigar is a beautiful cigar. I wish I had some with me. The band of the cigar is a Maduro with the University of Miami logo in the middle in orange and green.
Nice.
So it took me about a year and a half to get those created. And we finally got them created, and we've been bringing them out to games, and they've been selling like hotcakes, to be honest with you. They're flying off. I can't really keep them in stock.
Is it any place that we can go online and try to find them?
Yeah, you can just really hit my Instagram and message me, and I'll get right back with you. I don't do all the online marketing or any of that stuff. Hit me up on Instagram and or Facebook, and at OTF Cigars, and you can get them shipped right to you.
Hey, Bell. I just got a phone call from Toba Bain. He said, "Bell, man, you get my nephew an NLI deal. All I know is my nephew need that NLI deal from you, and he'll definitely come to the University of Miami." Hey, man, thank you for coming on the show, man. We appreciate it.
Man.
Much success
All my
to
pleasure,
you.
man.
Can't wait
All
till the
my
next
pleasure.
game. I'll definitely be out there in the parking lot smoking a couple with you, and
All right.
we'll
Look
be having
forward
some
to
good
it.
time. And you can
forward
call
to
me
it.
fast. Only you can call
That's
me
right.
fast.
That's
All
right.
right,
I'm gonna send some cigars back for my guys too.
Appreciate it. Much love to you.
Randy,
All right, much love.
good seeing
Take care,
you.
Randy. Great seeing you,
Thank
man.
guys. All right, appreciate it.
Always
Randy
a
Bethel.
just a great person. I love Randy.
He had a great game in that Sugar Bowl, man. You're right. You brought
No,
that
the
up.
Cotton Bowl too.
Cotton Bowl, yeah.
Cotton
I mean, it was a cotton, and
he
yeah,
had
and the Sugar Bowl.
touchdown. He was good.
I mean, he was just I think, who do we have? Chudzinski. He was the same. When we lined up double tight, those two guys were our tight end, and Randy could run. He was much faster than Chud.
Oh yeah.
But Chud was more the possession type.
He had this number was 93. That was
93. That's correct.
Yeah.
93.
Number,
Yes. Tight end. It wasn't a tight end number.
No, it was
But
like a D lineman number.
But like most of the numbers we had, we made them into what they were. How about that?
That's for sure.
LT, Zach Lesnar has a question for you.
All right.
One of our listeners, do you think the lack of depth and injuries have completely derailed this year?
Zach, I don't think it's derailed the year. I mean, it depends on what your thoughts were coming into the year. Obviously, for people like myself who know the program and been around the program, got to see the program, I wasn't expecting a lot. I definitely was not expecting Middle Tennessee State now. Let's make sure we understand that. But I wasn't expecting them to be world beaters, because I also understood they don't have a lot of depth. And when you have injuries force you to play other people, these guys are coming up, but they are getting experience, so it will help you down the line. But I wasn't expecting, I said in the beginning maybe 4 losses, and some people looked at me a little crazy. I love the program, but I'm a realist too. I mean, he has a lot of holes to fix, and they're showing this year. And it's also you bring in a new staff. The staff and the players have to get to know each other. They have to be on the same page. As we talked about earlier, the offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, they got to be able to call plays based upon what their players can do. If your guys can't run, you don't call press. If you guys, they're fast guys, then you can call press, or vice versa. You don't throw deep balls if you guys can't run. It is what it is. So I think everything has been a learning process this year, and they still have a ways to go. There still are holes that need to be fixed. So we're just going to continue to hopefully get better.
But I'll chime in. I do agree with what he said to a certain extent. When you lose Citizen, Restrepo, and Zion Nelson, you lost a lot. It might not be a big number, 3, but those 3 guys are really important to this team. Knowing that they weren't going to play that much, if at all, this year, that's a big loss. I could see 3 or 4 losses, or maybe 5 losses without those guys.
But Dennis Lopez brings up the question, Lamar, about adapting to the problems that the receivers were having early by simplifying their routes, simplifying their responsibilities. Is that what you've seen when you've watched the game, or have they simplified the game for the receivers?
Well, his offense is a downfield offense. I mean, I saw that from the little bit of time I sat in the meeting and watched the plays that they were trying to run in practice. I'm like, man, your O-line has to be pretty damn good, because you got to be able to block to be able to throw those downfield passes. Not really as many bubble screens as we were used to seeing over the last couple of years of quick passes. It's all kind of predicated off the run game, but if your run game ain't worth the shit, then you got issues.
We have issues.
Or your run game, or your guys fumble. I mean, it takes, now he has to make a decision to say, okay, do I want to continue to do this and these guys fumble, or one guy fumbles, or whatever it is in key situations, or do I throw the ball? So he's had to make some adjustments himself, and it's all a learning process. I mean, regardless, we brought the guy in. He's supposed to be a good coordinator. I think in times it's shown, and him and the quarterback has been on the right page. It's just those times that it didn't show, that's a sour taste in everyone's mouth. But remember, everybody's still growing.
I think they got rid of Rooster running the ball on short yardage by putting in Ja'Cory Brown. They made that adjustment. They realized they can't let him put the ball on the floor anymore. He's a fumbler.
I like what Jay Daphne said. I don't believe everyone expected Mario to cook a 5-star meal with another chef's groceries.
Well,
I like that.
That's a good point. But I personally like what Jason C is saying. He loves that nickname you have, Lamar Fats.
Bro, you can't call me that, dog. Only. Okay, it ain't cool, man. You don't understand. It ain't cool, Chris. It ain't cool because they even made me put it on a sweatshirt I had, man. They made me. They said you got to wear this. I mean, that's how much it was.
Who's they? There's got to be just a few. Not everybody.
Leon Searson to this day calls me Fats.
Okay.
And he's just too big for me to swing on him. Okay. Roland Smith, I hated coming to Central because Fats. They come in Fats. Bro, it's kids in here, bro. Don't call me that in front of the kids. Bernard Clark, Randy Bethel, Darren Handy. I mean, AJ, look, Alex Johnson, one of the greatest, nicest guys. Fats, come in. Let's walk to class, Fats. Bro, I'm not Fats. I'm Lamar.
Fat? You might have weighed 100 pounds back then.
Yeah, when they put an S on it to make it sound better. Fats. Fats, come in, Fats. Let's go to the calf, Fats. So it was some guys that called it. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, now you got a new name, Coach Fats.
Well, no. It's Coach Thomas. Coach LT or Coach Thomas.
Okay.
What are you gonna have him call you when you get
Coach
to
LT,
Orlando?
Coach Thomas. LT. I don't really care. I mean, obviously, I'm from a different era where we call guys coaches. We call them coach. That's what. When I got to the NFL, it was the first time I heard somebody call a coach by their first name, and I was like, "What?" Hey, David. And I'm with Horace Copeland in the back. We like, did he just call him David? Hey Sam. I'm like, you call the man? It's Coach Weiss. No, you're in the pro now. You making money, bro. You call them by their first name. I'm like, I don't know about that. So for a long time, man, it took a long time for me to call. I still call Coach Johnson. I never called him Jimmy, except for one time. Except for after the 3 touchdown Monday night game, I said, "Hey Jimmy, show me that money, dog."
LT, let's talk about Duke for a minute.
Right.
Everyone just assumes, Duke, we're gonna be like we haven't learned our lesson. It's not just, hey, we're playing Duke Saturday. Duke has It used to be, yes.
Yeah.
But Duke has done a great job getting their program back on track under Mike Elko this year, Lamar. Yep. They are playing very good football. They are going to be a very tough out on Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium. And Miami has been made a 9.5-point favorite in the game, which seems like a lot of points to me. Wow. When you factor in everything that's been going on. And I think it's going to be a very tight game. And a very good one. They have a good quarterback. They have a good offense. And they have an edge, Lamar, that I want you to comment on. They've got Jess Simpson coaching their defensive line. They've got Coach Ishmael, who was the linebacker coach last year, coaching their linebackers. And they got David Feely, who was the strength coach at Miami for so many years. He's their strength coach. They know Miami's personnel, Lamar. Backwards, forwards, and sideways.
Personnel.
What impact does that have on the game?
Well, I've been on the sideline of another team, leaving Louisville to go to Kentucky. Knowing the personnel is always great, but knowing the plays is even better. But you can talk about these guys, but you don't really know how much they've gotten better or worse. You can say, hey, I just want you to know that guy, he's not that fast. And obviously if they watch film and he can't cover this, or he can't do this, or he can't do that. And it still might be the same way. So there is to have that personal relationship with these guys and to know what they can and can't do it's important. But at the same time, it's not the plays. The offensive coordinator changes. It's you would rather know the coordinators than know the players, because now you have that edge. The players sometimes can change a little bit. They can get stronger. They can get mature over a year, over a summer. They can get bigger. They can get faster. But those coordinators pretty much stay on the same. It's kind of like what Coach Steele said about coaching against who was that? He was saying against coaching against Texas A&M. He said it's still what's that coach name?
Jimbo.
Jimbo. It's still Jimbo. Yeah, it's still Jimbo's offense. So he's coached against a guy many, many times. So it's different. But having that little edge, that psychological edge to tell the kids, hey, he's not that good. It could have an effect, but at the end of the day, it'll be thrown out the window by about third quarter.
Yeah, they're coming off a tough loss, but those guys don't know Ladson, they don't know Young, they don't know Parrish. There's a lot of they don't know our defensive guys up front. They're relatively new guys, so I don't give that much credence. They're a better prepared team. They played hard. They're going to play us hard, and we just can't show up or not show up. We've got to make this game to be the biggest game of the year because they all are going forward.
Every game since that freaking Middle Tennessee State game becomes a must win for you because we got to get that taste out of the mouth, for our fans, as we well know. it's going to take a while. And, that's just the nature of the beast down here.
But don't you agree, LT, that had they beaten North Carolina, that may have been forgotten? They'd be 1-0 in the ACC, looking forward to Duke. You're never going to forget that stupid loss, but it would have been much different, in my opinion, had they beaten North Carolina. And they would be right up there at the top. They'd be a game ahead of North Carolina with Duke and Virginia. And they got Georgia Tech later on. Pitt's not that good this year. They'd be in the driver's seat, but they're not. Because of that.
Did you forget about FIU? Have you forgotten about FIU?
I forgot about them. That was a long time ago already.
Shit,
no. and that was Butch. So you know what? I didn't mind it as much because I know.
No, it wasn't. Shit, that hurt. I was there. That was awful. Mm-hmm. I'll never go to a baseball game in that stadium ever.
Did you see what Butch is doing now?
What is Butch doing?
He's working as like an analyst at one of those small programs up in North. I think I don't know if it's Florida Memorial or one of those. There was another one that was started at
St. Thomas.
St. Thomas University started a football program too. That might be the one he's working at.
Yes, he is.
And Butch is sitting up there on game day I don't even know who they're playing, and he's up. They have their coaching box is on a lift. Like they have one of those like lifts that they use to film practice. And he's sitting up there on a seat with like a walkie-talkie or something. And he's working as an analyst, just to stay in it and have something to do. And
I talked to Coach Davis. I saw him for a little bit at the 87 reunion, and he told me about it. And he said, man, I just love the game. I got to be around the game. That's it. I got to be around the game. I'm enjoying life. I think his son might be doing something over there too. So
I think his son is on the staff there.
So, he's just being around the game, man. Those guys are lifers. They've been in the game a long time. Just like Dennis, I'm hoping Coach Harris is playing golf somewhere, but not at this time, but because they're just lifers, man. They just love the game. They've been around it a long time, and it's hard for them to say, I'm going to walk away and watch it on TV.
Yep. For sure.
So they probably go through about 3 or 4 TVs a season.
Well, we're going to be joined in a minute by Bishop Kenny Berry, but he's got his cap on his webcam right now, like Lamar did earlier today. I'm waiting for a picture. All right, we got it. Here he is. The Bishop is in the house.
How we doing, gentlemen? How we doing?
How you doing, Kenny?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Good to see you.
Oh man, good to see you guys as well. LT, what's up, baby?
See, okay, you did just like
do your Tolbert impression.
See, I love the way y'all give me respect because me and this man have a lot of history, but I'm gonna start off by saying I love the way you didn't call me Fats. So,
I leave that with TB.
See, he didn't call me Fats, but what he did do to me.
Oh, come on.
Almost made me transfer because his freaking handprint's still in my chest. That's why my chest never developed. I almost wanted to leave school because this man owned me my freshman year. I couldn't get off the jam. I think I cried a couple times in my helmet. And every time he'd get up there, he was long. And so I would be in a 3-point stance and I would just look up and I say, this ain't gonna be good. And sure enough, I end up on my back or his hand in my chest and knock the wind out me. And the receiver coach at the time, Coach Alexander, said, boy, you ain't gonna never play here.
Coach Hub, man.
Coach Hub. One time for Coach Hub Alexander. But you were such a tough competitor, man, in that cover too, man. I mean, I still remember the hit you hit the kid at was it Missouri?
Missouri. Oh yeah.
Oh man. I mean, what for you playing cornerback and to have the size, was it easy? I mean, because it seemed like everything you did, you're running and jamming and all that. It looked easy.
Well, when you train, man, especially in your off season, I never took off. I really just when I got home, I trained. I had a martial art instructor, Jackie Emanuel, where I was training with Tai Chi. So I was learning those different things as well. And so when I got back home to the muck, it was on, You realize I was a part of a very competitive unit. And so you couldn't come back. out of shape. You had to come back ready, man. So, and that's basically what I did. So I had that knack, man. Just always want to be better. I mean, top notch guy coming out of Pahokee, small rural town here in the Glades area. But knowing that I was going down with those big dogs down at the U, man, had to be ready. Couldn't slack up, not one moment, because we built such a culture down there, man. And the guys that we had playing with us, I mean, we had second and third and fourth string guys that could have been starters anywhere else.
Yep.
And so, we went in on a daily basis, man, just being prepared and ready, for what's next, man. And, LT, young Buck, trying to get us, trying to get a little Scott team, thing on there. But listen, I'm working on my craft, baby.
Hey, do you watch the games, Kenny? Do you watch the games this year?
Yeah.
So
listen, it's hard, think about it. After playing, I've coached for 20 years. I coached Aquan Bowden, I've coached some great guys. Dewan Morgan over at Suncoast. I coached those guys, man. So here it is now, and looking at it, and the kids are just different these days. They're different, and I hear some of the conversation that, you can't really discipline these guys. And, we built such a competitive nature down at the U when we was there, man, that, hey, we were going to let you slack. That was slacking was not an option. You have to be ready because, every man counts, and our thing was next man up. If that guy that in front of you didn't get it done, next man up, baby, but I don't think these kids really understand that, and we understand they're not us. They're not us. We were in an era and a time where we literally changed football in itself. And these kids here, they want to talk about the swag. Just listen. Do what the coach tell you to do. Take your responsibilities, and don't blow coverages. That's the worst thing you could ever do. Yeah, just blowing coverage. You should never get beat 90-something yards at the U. Never. That could never happen.
So 4 times in the Middle Tennessee game, 2 times in the North Carolina game, that happened. Kenny Berry is thinking what as he watches that?
How in the world? What are you doing? What are you looking at? I'm sitting there from a coach's perspective and from a defensive back perspective. I'm looking at, what are you reading? What are you looking at? That if you're a safety, you don't need to be piercing down inside. You need to be looking across, we have that wandering eye looking, back and forth across the field and staying deep. Our corners, I'm looking at these guys, they're not aggressive enough. LT, no. Honestly, I taught those guys that even came in and played for me. I said, listen, you're playing football. I mean, this is the only sport you can play. You can literally kill a man half to death and not go to jail for it. So why not take advantage of this opportunity and be physical? So honestly, I'm going to hit you all the way down the field and hit you coming back to your huddle. I'm going to etch it in your mind that, listen, you going to have the worst time of your life. And that was my mentality. I had a destructive mentality because I was, 6'2", 6'3". I was just $185, but I played like I was 205. And I mean, and basically, I just don't love the game. And honestly, Tim Buton, the guy out of Missouri that I hit, I don't think you know this, LT. We kind of accept him because he was one of Charles Farm boys, right? But when we played them in Miami the previous year, this joker sucker punched me. He sucker punched me, hit me under my chin. I'm like, did he just hit me? Listen, I wasn't a bishop then. I said a few things. I had a few choice words,
Yeah.
But and Tiger, I went to walk behind him to his huddle, and Tiger grabbed and said, "Kid, where you going?" I said, "That so-and-so, Tim, just sucker punched me." But I told him that game, I said, "Son," I said, "Boy, I don't care if it's next year or in the NFL, I'm gonna get you." So I purposely studied them when they ran that little tight end drag across the field. Listen, I literally stopped, let the receiver go and stop, because I know he was going to throw him that ball. And
boy, you hit.
Listen,
lit him up. He got lit up.
Lit him up. Drews to stern him and everything else, and that to come and get him off the field. We didn't see him no more.
I think it was dudes came off the sideline and did dances over top of him. Everybody was doing something. Ooh.
Oh, you remember that?
It was ugly. It was ugly. It was loud too.
Man.
Their whole stadium went quiet.
But they, and guess what happened, right? A radio station from Missouri called me. They called me, and I came on. My wife Melissa was, then, and I was at her house in that weekend there, and they called me, saying, "What kind of person are you to hit someone and dance over them?" I'm like, "This is a violent game." I say, "You got to think about this. We're young men, and this is what you live for during this game. When you get a big hit, you celebrate, And I say, well, you got to understand. There's some things happen that you don't really know that happened. So, I mean, it happened. I say, so go figure. Listen. I didn't play the radio back then. Me, honestly, I was looking to decapitate someone. Mike Barrow, he stole my slogan because it was me that stated I wanted, knock his helmet off his head. If his head wasn't in, I kicked the helmet. That was my statement. So,
you can't put that on your bishop robe, dog.
Listen, I kicked the devil's head now, brother.
Kenny, you guys policed yourselves because I used to go to the practices. I would watch. I think Gary went. We saw how hard you guys play, how hard you guys work. But if somebody was screwing up, you didn't need the coaches to say anything. You guys got in their face. I don't know if that's happening anymore. I don't even know who the leaders are anymore. There's no leaders. You guys knew who the leaders were. You didn't need somebody to tell you, don't do this. Don't ever do that again. I mean, Leon, we used to look down the line of scrimmage. Claude, you do that again, I'm going to knock you on your ass. You don't need the coaches to say it.
And that's what we did. We policed each other. We encouraged one another. We want to listen, if you're going to be on that field with us on Saturday night, listen, you had to be ready to go.
Yep.
No slackers out there. We didn't care. I don't care what position you was in. Honestly, if you wasn't taking care of your assignment, we're going to get on you, man. But the thing about it, we competed against each other. Our best game was our practices.
How funny is that? That's exactly what Leon said last night. We had him on the show. It's exactly what he said.
Our best game was our practices, and honestly, because we were so competitive. And like I said at the reunion, that if you check Mike and you don't, he doesn't catch the ball. No, KB, man, no, you got to let me get some get back. Brett, Brian, listen, we was very competitive. We want to make sure each other was better. Mm-hmm. And we did that day in and day out, I don't understand these kids these days.
KB, those practices also weeded some guys out.
Yes.
And like I said, I actually was like in tears because it was very frustrating, but I had to learn if I wanted to stay there. And that was the whole thing. If I wanted to stay there, I said, okay, I got to put my big boy drawers on now.
Come on now. Come on.
And I got to figure this out because it ain't going to get no better by me doing the same thing. So I got to watch, figure something out, or go to Florida. Go to Florida. That's the easy way out.
But the thing about it, we took care of each other.
Yeah.
What we did. And we made sure that, you had what it takes, to advance. We worked with each other is what we did. We didn't allow you to stay back there. It's like, if you messed up, listen, bro, man, pay attention to what's going on before you. You got to always be, have your eyes and ears open and paying attention. And so that was the thing about it. We had such a brotherhood, man. And that's why that when we come together now, it's like we were never apart. We just enjoy one another even right now. But we built such a culture. And I mean, we had an identity that everybody wanted to mimic. Just think about it. Whatever we did, everybody else copied.
Yeah.
We were football, not only just in the collegiate realm, but honestly, we had NFL teams watching us. And I know that there was a period of time that we were trying to get a practice scrimmage with the Dolphins.
And that brotherhood and camaraderie helps you guys on the road, because I don't see these guys going on the road and telling everybody, come on. The more noise you make, we don't give a shit. Just keep talking, man. Keep talking. We're going to knock your players on their ass. That's not happening anymore. That helps you guys on the road. That's how tough you are.
Listen, when we went into a stadium, Only thing we had was victory on our mind. We weren't concerned about no top players. If they're top player, we want to make sure, listen, we're going to see whether or not you were the top player. Because we're coming after you.
What about them towels? What about them towels? In case some of your viewers don't know, them top players, they had little special towels.
Listen.
Go ahead and tell them, KB.
Listen, man. Listen, we had their name already printed. We had the name already scheduled out. We already had, listen, everybody was at them. You was a target for us. That's basically what you were. You was a target.
Tim
and
Brown.
So we were going to make sure that you remember the Canes when we left. You know, you have Canes nightmares.
Hey, Kenny, we had Randy Bethel on earlier, and we talked a little bit about this. What was it like for you to have your son go to the University of Miami and play for the U?
Oh, wow. I tell you, it was a tearjerker for me to see my son run out of that smoke, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I had two sons there.
Yeah, that's right.
I had two sons. Like Damien, who played running back, and it was kind of weird for him because, you know, he came in and they had, you know, recruited him as a defensive back. Yes, he played safety at Suncoast, and he plays, you know, little safety at Clay Central as well. Transferred to Clay Central last year. This guy ran for over 1,900 yards and 19 touchdowns on a bum knee. But getting to the U, Dr. Uribe fixed him up, got him ready, and Randy called me and said, KB, why you ain't tell me this boy's a running back? I said, listen, man, you the coach, figure these things out, man. And so Randy called me, we were talking, and so I told my son, I said, listen, I said, now think about it. I said, where was all your great success at? I mean, as an 8th grader, the guy ran for 8 touchdowns in one game from fullback, straight up the middle. Nobody can tackle him. He played 1 year of Pee Wee, played 1 year of his juniors, and 1 year of the seniors. And he was so big, he grew so fast that, you know, we kind of did a little undercover stuff there when I was coaching at Palm Beach Lakes there. But but he played on the junior varsity team as an 8th grader. Mm-hmm. But he got down to the U, man, and honestly, I made the crowd say ooh and ah, but I never made the crowd scream Barry, Barry, Barry.
Yeah,
I mean that was a moment of a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, but you know he played. I mean, did some great things there. Ended up going to Baltimore and winning the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens there. So things like that, man. Honestly, you will never forget those here. But to come to the U and play at the U, where you know I already made my mark there. My youngest son Keon, he came in and he played for Golden. Mm-hmm. And he would have been, honestly, he was on the start traveling and decided to go play some basketball, being bored, and tore his knee up. Mm. And so that ruined his, you know, his opportunity there. But you know, both of them was there, and honestly, to have your kids come to the school that you played at and that you perform well at, and they come back and they do the same thing. Honestly, that's priceless, and there's no word to express, man.
How was the recruiting process? Like, were you saying to yourself, son, you got to make your own decision, but
going to Miami.
Boy, you know you're going to school. You can take all those trips and do all that stuff there, but you know where you're going. And see the thing about it, I kid you not, he grew up watching all of our videos. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what he did. I mean, no, honestly, he already made his decision up from a young age. Mm-hmm. He literally watched all of our games. He watched all of our evidence, every highlight tape that we had. Honestly, he watched it, and I mean, this what actually drove him, you know, to want to go to the U. Wow. I mean, he was a sophomore throwing up the U. You know, but a freshman. He was throwing up the U as a freshman. He knew this year. I mean, but honestly, it was, listen, there was no other school. There was no other choices, you know. And like, I honestly, I know that from me coming out of Pahokee, small town, you know, to come down to the U and make that market where, you know, it got, you know, Tim Selton, he had already come there from Glade Central a year prior to that, trying to get in there. Then you come back, you got my son, Travis Benjamin, you know, Clyde, you know, these guys come down to the U and they made great strides. And honestly, U's the place to be. But I had Anquan, he was ready to come to the U. Antoine Smith, he was ready to come to you. My god brother, Eric Moore, he was coming to the U. Bobby came in at the last minute. I don't know what Bobby did. I always said that Bobby came in with a briefcase and stole these guys.
Well, you know, we got a couple legacy situations in recruiting this year. Tolbert Bain's nephew, Ruben, is one of the best defensive ends in the country. And Selwyn Brown's son, Damari, is one of the top defensive backs out of American Heritage Fort Lauderdale. Miami's recruiting both of them. They're making them fight, Kenny. These aren't layups going on here. They are making Mario and this staff battle like there's no tomorrow for these two kids. So here's my question. As a legacy, and you have a son, do the legacy players have a responsibility to send if their son is a top player, to send them to the U?
I mean, I would say yes. The thing about this, you know, we're family. We're family. But we want to put our kids in the best position possible for them. Is what we want to do. And knowing right now that we're in a rebuilding phase, but think about this is that our kid can come in and help be that difference maker, that change maker. And I think, you know, I just feel that, you know, honestly, we built something there and it's a family. And so family go to help and assist family. That's what we do.
Well, you know, last year we had the whole discussion with Earl Little, and his son ended up going to Alabama. So it was kind of, you know, and, you know, you can't, some guys feel certain ways, you know, it all depends on their experience. And, you know, some guys feel other ways. I mean, it was just one of those things where Earl thought that his kid would get the best opportunity at Alabama. So, you know, I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at all, because you can't be mad at someone for making their own decision.
Of course. But the thing about it is, look at this here, is that Alabama was the top dog. Alabama was winning, and everybody wants to be a part of a winning program. Unfortunately, you know, we capsized. You know, we flipped the boat. You know, we flipped the Porsche. We didn't really, you know, keep the standard going, and we've had so many losing seasons. So you got to think about it. Our kids want to be a part of winning program. Yes, they respect what we have done. And yes, we want our kids to go there, go to our, you know, to the U. But these guys got to make your own decision. You know, I didn't have to tell my sons. My sons wanted to go. That's where they wanted to be at. You know, just think about it. You know, but they just come out of where you had the Ed Reeves, you had the Ray Lewis, you had the Warren Sapp, you know, the Sean Taylors, you know, the Jonathan Vilma. See, that's the group that my son Damien followed. That's the group that, you know, that really inspired him. So he came down at a time where, you know, the U was on high. Just think about it, you know. And I mean, in the 2001 championship, that in itself, these are the things that those kids were riding on. And UM was still peaking at that time, you know. But, you know, then, you know, things kind of transitioned, kind of went south. But, you know, I would say, you know, to any one of us, I would say, listen, you know, give the U a chance. You know, but if you don't think your son is, you know, is the right fit for the U, send him where you want to send him at.
KB, you know, you being a bishop now, and let me make sure I got this right. Now, you ran for public office, am I correct?
Yes, I am. I'm commissioner in the city of Belgrade.
See, commissioner.
Yes.
What did your experiences at the University of Miami help in those two avenues, in being a bishop and being a commissioner?
I mean, it gives you that intentional fortitude, you know, and it helps build a focal outlook, and where that you now, you know, you can see, you know, the betterment of all things. You actually see things, and knowing that where you start out is not where you're going to end up at. And what it taught me is that, you know, I become a visionary. So therefore, having a vision and knowing what is desired. Being a person that prays daily. I do a 5 a.m. prayer time, and I have a noonday prayer time, and want to pray tonight when I get back home with my wife. But you learn so many different things there. It teaches you, manly qualities and things of that nature. It teaches you how to, team build. And so as a pastor and as a bishop, you got to be able to now, I work, I have pastors under me. So therefore I have to learn, teach them how to, to work cohesively together. And I'm grateful I'm a part of a global convention coming in churches of 3 C's. We're global. We do a global call the second and fourth Saturday where we got South Africa, we got India, we got China, we got different, we're spanning the globe, and we have these conference calls here, Zoom calls, and we get all of these pastors there, and we're always trying to encourage one another. And that's what I got from the youth is that we assisted one another, we encouraged one another and empowered one another. So I've taken what I've learned there and I applied it in other sectors of life. And just having that due diligence to really want to do what, to, just to want to be a change maker. You want to be able to, cause change and effect change wherever you go at. And that's what, Jimmy said this year, he said, keep the kitchen hot, you get a better performance. Keep the kitchen hot, you get a better performance. And otherwise, you don't let down your guards. You keep that fire burning and you want to make people, hey, listen, chop, 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 that's Timmy.
Take your foot off the gas pedal.
Exactly. And I do that here at Grace Fellowship Worship Center, when Lord allowed me to pastor over since 2005, and everything else I'm a part of. And that's when I just taken everything that I've, learned from the youth. Listen, the football programs. I took over a football program with 37 kids who had never played football, only 2 had experience. My son and another kid, and I had 1 girl on the team.
Wow.
Loran Christian School. Larry the Cable Guy, Danny Whitney, poured in a ton of money for starting the program back up over there.
Wow.
And I had this 1 girl on the team. Oh, I got to make you laugh, Lamar. Now, we opened our season up with Benny and Brian and Bobby and team out of Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, yeah.
So we opened up with them. And good game and everything else. And, just my guys was intense, everything else. We had 1 penalty the whole entire game. And that was a roughing the passer. 1 penalty. Discipline. And now, but after we huddled up after the game, and I told the girl, Carissa, and honestly, if you look at her now, she's lost that weight, and she's beautiful. She's a fitness instructor and everything else. But I told her, I said, listen, no, don't wear no makeup. I said, I don't want to see no fingernail polish. And I said, don't take that helmet off. And I taught her, because guess what she played? She played on the defensive line.
Wow.
And I told her, I said, listen, these are guys. They're scrolling you up top. I said, what you do, I said, you find yourself in a struggle. I said, fall down, roll, and call a pile up. That's all she did the entire game. She battled a bit, she fall and she rolled, And so after the game, she took her helmet off. It's the girl. and the guy that played in front of us said, she's good too. But just teaching the discipline of the game in itself. My quarterback, Johnny Lance, had never played pickup football, was a basketball player, but the kid led the county, in the first 7 games of the season in passing, because I took what I learned at the U. I ran the same defense that we ran at the U. Think about it, and we tweaked some things offensively, but these kids, we taught them the techniques and fundamentals that they needed. And that's one thing about me. Being a technician, want to teach the fundamentals.
Right.
The fundamentals. That is so important. And I see it not only just on the high school and collegiate, but I see it in the NFL level.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to talk to Darius Webb up at with Baltimore and just talk to him about a few technical things, and that's transform his game. The next game, boom, he got 2 picks.
Wow.
Small things, man.
Right.
Yeah. That's the things that Miami's missing now. Tackling, blocking.
Getting the right signals.
Yeah, man. It's
communication.
Every little thing that goes wrong goes wrong.
Yeah. Communication.
Man.
Well, Bishop Barry, we definitely appreciate you coming on, and make sure you tell your lovely wife I said hello, and it was such a pleasure to always see you guys at the game. You're such a happy couple. I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing funny. I know you waiting, but you make sure you tell her I said hello. He waiting for me. He waiting. I ain't gonna say nothing.
Hey, listen, I know you're LT like the back of my hand. I know you.
That's why they call me Fats too, because they knew I'd give it right back to them. They knew I was gonna give it right back to them. But man, we definitely appreciate you coming on, man.
Anytime,
always great to hear your story. And man, I know you're gonna do well over there. And I gotta come over there and eat with you, break some bread. All right, how about that?
Come on, brother.
All right,
matter of fact, this is why I give. Well, my wife and I were also an owner of a preschool in West Palm. So we're over there daily. We got a facility 10,000 square feet. Our capacity is 165, but our school, we teach the kids. I don't care from the 1-year-old to the VPK after schoolers, and have a future vision to do some other things. But
what's the name of the school?
It's Grace Hill Academy.
Okay.
Grace Hill Academy Preschool, right there in West Palm Beach in the full-time plaza. But we have a large area there where we have like 10,000 square feet. Very, very beautiful teachers. They teach our kids, they're learning, and that's what I'm just grateful for. So, but
wow,
our kids need that, KB. Our kids need to be taught right from wrong. This whole world needs to learn things like that, not just these kids. It's so bless you, baby. That's awesome.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing to privilege.
Thank you, KB.
All right, bless you, brother.
Great seeing you, KB. Wow, man, that was awesome.
Two guys that had kids attend the University of Miami after their great playing careers there. That had to be like KB said. It was special. It had to be special to have your kid go where you spent 4 or 5 years walking that campus. Now your kid is doing it, whether some years later or not. It's still the same. The buildings might have changed. They might have tore down the 36 or whatever, but it's building 36. But it's still the same campus. I mean, you still got the same bridge. You still got the same student union. Hell, you probably still got the same couches in that mother. So, it's the same old thing.
Hey, has any legacy's child outperformed the parent that you know of off the top of your head? I know Ray's kid didn't do well here.
No, Mike's kid didn't. Mike's kid didn't do well. I don't know. That's a really good question.
I'm not thinking of anyone.
I did talk to Russell a couple of weeks ago, and he did tell me about his kid who wanted to play at Miami.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name the name, but he said there was a tight end that Miami was after. And apparently that kid told the coaching staff, Mario, if Russell's kid comes, I'm not coming.
Wow.
So you could guess who it probably was. So now he's playing, and he's back in Texas playing. Where is he playing? He's at Texas Tech or one of those schools. He's not at BC. He didn't go to BC either. He's in Texas playing, but he's playing really well.
I know Russell was hurt about that.
Yeah, he was.
Russell really wanted his kid to.
Yeah, he wanted
just like we all did. We all did. So
what do you think Tolbert's reaction is going to be if Ruben doesn't come to Miami? What's he gonna say, Lamar?
Man, I don't even know. I thought he was coming, but hell, obviously y'all boys ain't doing enough. I thought he was. It was all good. I talked to Melvin. Melvin, the Ghost had it all written in, but hell, I don't know what happened.
I've discussed this with Tolbert, and he thinks the key is that they recruit him like he's not from Dade County.
Yes, he told me that too. He said all the kid wants, and you should do it anyway, because if you don't do it, then you're showing you're kind of there's lapses, and what the kid wants to be, everybody wants to be loved, but you don't want to take for granted just because he's from here. And Tolbert went there, everything. So That's what these kids want, but and I know that's what he wants because Tolbert told me the same.
And it's happening too because they're on this kid.
Yeah, they are. The other day, the last home game, they were having pregame warm-ups, and the O-line and D-line were warming up over there in the west end zone like they always do. And Ruben was standing there watching, and Jason Taylor looked over at him and said, "Let's go."
Wow.
Let's go.
Hall of Fame with Jason Taylor.
Yeah. So yeah, they're very well aware of who he is, and they are all over him. All right, Lamar, let's take care of some business, man. Tell us a little bit about Caneswear.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Hurricanes football is back. Are you geared up yet? Have you been to Caneswear in Davie recently? They have the latest gear for the Miami Hurricanes and Miami Dolphins too. Caneswear is more than a store, it's an experience. They have the largest selection of Miami Hurricanes items in town. Items from Adidas, Dime Life, Flow Grown, other brands, including team sideline apparel, and hundreds of different shirts, jerseys, polos, hoodies, hats, and in all sizes for men, women, kids, babies, and even pets. Caneswear is your tailgating headquarters. Tents, chairs, tables, flags, decals, magnets, license plates, sunglasses, and tattoos. They definitely will get you ready for your game days. So if you want Hurricanes gear or any South Florida Pro Team merchandise, they've got you covered all season long. So get on over to Caneswear, located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. And of course, they're always open at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot where Miami fans shop.
Yep. Here it is. It's a great
and then, of
story.
course, and this is Caneswear behind me virtually tonight. But how about the law office of Christine Rosendahl, Lamar? You got your little card with you?
Oh, it's right here, baby. Keep my wallet right here. No, you never know what's going to happen when you walk out the door. Holidays are coming up. Things happen. So I keep this card right here. Christine Rosendahl, Esquire. She's a lawyer, and she's really, really, really good. Any criminal, any tickets, anything you got, she can handle it. And she's good. She's fair. She has a great reputation. Go on the website. You can read all the referrals and all the testimonies from people of she's gotten them out of some issues, and people love her, man. She does a great job. I've used her a couple of times. Again, things happen. It's not gonna always be perfect, but I keep this card right here so I can look this phone number up and call it as some lights get on. Ding, 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 ding. So check her out. We have her phone number down here. I'm waiting for it to scroll. Oh, hell, I got it right here. 561-512-6199, or either email her at Christine Rosendahl, Esquire, at hotmail.com. She'll be waiting for your call.
All right.
Good job.
Honey IV makes a great point. He can't wait until we get Earl Little Jr. as a portal transfer.
Oh, it's going to happen.
He's not on the depth chart right now at Alabama. Right. I think they've been using him a little on special teams. I'm not sure about that.
Right.
But
I thought he got hurt myself, but
did he get hurt?
I thought he did, but maybe he didn't. But it's one of those things where it's going to be knowing Earl. It's going to be a pride thing. It's going to be, he has to decide whether it's the best thing for his child coming back, because he's going to have to tuck his tail a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You went out there, and not saying it was anything bad that went on between in the whole recruiting process, but when you go to Alabama and you got program here with Mario and you go there, it's going to be some tail tucking. It's going to be some, they're going to have to talk it out.
Yeah.
And, but he's going to have to come in and compete. Regardless if you're at Alabama or you're here, you're going to have to come in and compete, because we keep building. That's what Mario is going to continue to do. He's going to keep building and building. We're going to continue to get better players. And, if you don't come in time, look, we already got the West Virginia transfer, Darryl Porter's son, who I think is going to be a hell of a corner. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, he was starting up at West Virginia.
He was.
So he has some experience, and he's been playing well. He's done some really good things this season. So, it's going to continue to get better. And I'm sure some other guys are going to jump on board also.
Yeah, Gary, you were talking about positivity yesterday. I mentioned it earlier. So for me, the positivity are these 18 names. The offensive lineman, what's his name? Margoa. You got Jaden Wayne. You got Rashada. You got Malik Bryant, Riley Williams, Nate Joseph, Robert Stafford, Bobby Washington, Tyreek Citizen, Raul Aguirre, Ja'Cory Brown, Kamari Rogers, Jaleel Skinner, Basaint, Cyrus Moss, Inez Cooper, Colby Young, Angela Kelly. That's 18 names. That wouldn't have been here, I don't think, if we had the other coach. So as far as me being positive, I look at those names and I'm thinking, damn, and he's not done yet. And you said December is going to be a blow-up month. So I think he's going to turn over at least 25, 30 guys. Or somewhere.
I don't know if it'll hit that many, but I think there'll be 20 guys going to the portal.
Yeah, and so I think we're going to get more guys in here. And these names are not just names that, gee, who the hell are they? We know who these guys are. So I'm positive. Maybe not at 3-3, but I'm happy about where we're going with this guy. He's just got. I mean, he's got to weed out the guys he doesn't want.
And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen.
I don't know if the coaches he doesn't want, but we'll see.
As we well know, Miami's not for everybody. And so, Miami is not for everybody.
Right. It's not for everybody.
We've all seen some guys come down here that it's just a little bit too much for them. So, now since Mario's here, it might be, it's not the country club anymore. Not trying to say that Manny D, who by the way got ran through against Michigan.
Would he give up 35 points in the fourth
quarter? He gave up a lot.
You like that?
I thought it was North Carolina all over again. But anyway, they had the turnover chain that night, boy. Jesus Christ. But anyway, it's a different outlook over there. It really is. It truly is. You can tell, and I forgot to ask Kenny and Bear, what was it like to know that Mario came in the fold, because it's one of our own. Not saying that those other guys weren't. I mean, Randy was too, but it's just a little different now. Randy, obviously it's Randy's first job, man. That's a hard job.
Yeah.
And Manny found that out. Your first head coaching job, Miami. Nah, it's like coaching in the SEC. When you go to the SEC conference, they make you go to this. This when you first hired in the SEC. They make you go to Birmingham, and you're in the SEC meet with all the other first year coaches, and you're looking around. The SEC commissioners, Swanky or Skanky or whatever, Stanky or I don't know his name, whatever the hell his name. He said, look to your left and look to your right. I guarantee you, this is not your first job. You have to work your way up to the SEC.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody at Notre Dame today. They're experiencing the same thing with Marcus Freeman. I think they've lost 3 times already.
Yeah, it's a hard deal.
It's not a lot different. You just can't put anybody in these jobs and think they're going to win. They're too big. And I mean, look what Mario's going through this year. I mean, if you're not like the toughest SOB in the 305, you ain't dealing with everything Mario's dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Pretty
You got to be in it. You got to be in it to win it.
You got to be in it to
one
win
of these guys wants to know if any of the 3, why don't we get Sapp on the show or Shockey? Well, I've asked Sapp. I guess you have. I know Mark's tried. I called Ryan Collins, who's one of his best friends. He's probably not going to do it. But Shockey, I think we can get. Because I could talk to Drew or something.
Well, I'll keep working on him.
Yeah, I could work on Sapp.
You run into Sapp on the golf course.
He's asked to come on the show a couple of times. It's just getting him at the right time. That's all. He's a very busy man.
Gotta have a short window for that.
Yeah, he's a very busy man. So we'll get him on eventually. Who asked that? We'll get him on, and I'll try to reach out to Shockey. Murray, we'll try Lenore. We'll try to get him on. Shockey's a good. I think he'll be a good guest also.
Yeah,
we'll try to get him on.
He'd be great.
We'll try to go outside the bubble a little bit. We'll get some of those guys on.
Right.
All right, Bruce. We're going to let you go. We'll see you on Saturday for the post-game show after the Duke game, and
let's hope
there's going to be a ton to talk about.
All right, let's hope it's the winner. All right, you guys, be well, stay safe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, Bruce. Thanks for being part of this.
Caneswear, baby, Caneswear.
That's right. That's right.
To go.
All right, LT. Let's
Yeah,
take
buddy.
this thing home with a little word
All right.
association.
Let's do it.
I'm going to start with Duke.
Duke. Man, I mean, Duke. Kind of scratched my head on that program because, back, years ago, it was a basketball school. It was an easy win, bunch of smart guys out there. They were getting ready for finals all the time. And, they had, they were good offense, not very good defense, but their program's come a long way. They've had some, very good coaches. I don't know if he got fired or he was there a long time. Now they got a new coach, Elko. They do some good things. I think the program is headed in the right direction, but they're still Duke. So they're still Duke. They're a little bit better than Virginia Tech. So you can't make dumb penalties. You can't give them you can't do it because they can anybody can step up on you and bite you in the butt. Because I think they're a good program. They've come a long way, and they're still. I think they're thriving, but they're the bottom. They're the bottom. They're in the bottom echelon of the ACC. So, we got to do better. So hopefully
they have a quarterback that could flat play Lamar.
Yes.
He can run
Yes.
too. They're going to have to really be on their stuff at the line of scrimmage.
Yes, and we just got to lane integrity. We got to do it. On defense, you got to do your assignment, do your job. Don't let them run wild. Make some plays. Don't have dumb penalties. Also, communicate on the back end.
Yep.
That's been a big problem. Communication on the back end, which they got a little better at last week, but you can't have those dumb penalties, and you can't have a second half. Go out like you played in that first half.
Yep. All right. How about Colby Young?
Man, I mean, for a streak runner, a go runner, he's doing well right now. I'd love to see him do more things in the offense. I mean, as a coach, you have to spend as much time as you can with this kid to get him to feel comfortable. But he does give you downfield presence, and obviously, this is what Gaddis likes. He likes the downfield stuff, so he fits right in. And now you can bring guys. You run him off, throw it deep a couple times. Now you can bring guys all the way over and fill that void and hit them in the hole in the soft spot. So it opens up Gaddis's offense in a way, but your offensive line has to block too. But I like what Mr. Young is doing. He's a big dude too. I actually thought he was a tight end at first, but he is a big dude and he's physical. And that one-hand catch was sweet.
That was sweet, huh? He only runs, I think, like 4.6 and change, Lamar.
So did Arondé Gasson. But they make plays. Those big guys, man, they don't look like they're moving, and you kind of take them for granted a little bit, and they get up on you because they're so big. Michael Irvin wasn't that fast, but they get up on you and they position their bodies where now you're running their speed. You're not, if you run a 4.3, but they get up on you and they put that body on you, you're not running the 4.6.
Right.
And you don't know how to handle running the 4.6.
Right. How about TVD, man? TVD.
Another big game. He has to have a huge game. Would love to see him continue to be a leader. I think the team needs a leader, and he's the quarterback. He's the guy that we came into the season praising. So, need to build off of the 500 yards, almost 500 yards, and the win from last week. You continue to build, and, you try to put that first half. You try to have a first half and a second half, put it together, try to get this team out the ball game and try to beat them pretty good.
And what about Josh Gaddis?
Josh, I mean, your quarterback, it seems like you guys are now getting on the same page. Obviously you got to do more with the run game, for his offense to work. I mean, from what I'm seeing, for his offense to truly work, you got to get a running game. And so you got to manufacture some tough yards running. I mean, obviously, we've had a lot of injuries at the running back position, but you got to be able to manufacture a running game so it can open up some of those downfield and intermediate routes that he likes in his offense. But they're not open if you can't run the ball.
Yeah, and I think they're working hard on that this week.
Yes.
All right, Lamar, another great show. I'm glad that after about an hour and a half of trying that you were able to figure out that you needed to take the cap off your webcam.
Wait, let me show you. Hold on. Wait, let me do it. There it is. That's
what
what
I
we
was
saw.
looking at.
That's what we saw. It's like, man, what is going on here? That's what we saw.
But I'm glad you were able to figure it out in time for the 8 o'clock start of the show. Time to go eat your baked ziti.
My baked ziti.
I imagine your kids already ate all the pizza.
Oh yeah, I got one slice, but I'm a baked ziti. It's gonna take me a whole week to eat this, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, LP. Well, have fun on your XFL stuff over the next couple days, and we'll be back next Wednesday night. The Canes play Duke on Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium. For Lamar Thomas, I'm Gary Furman. We want to thank Caneswear, the law office of Christine Rosendahl, for sponsoring our show tonight, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Have a great weekend at the Rock, everybody.
Go Canes.